Today we're going to hear from 3 photographers who truly understand how lighting works. Bob Holmes, Bambi Cantrell, and Felix Kunze. Let's join these photographers as they share their tips on how to better understand lighting.
This is a great example. Inevitably I shoot a lot of people. I don't shoot portraits so much. Well, I do shoot portraits. I quite enjoy portrait photography up to a point. But I shoot a lot of people for travel stories. This was a geographic assignment. This guy had a classic face. He's a great guy. I really liked him. Yeah. He was under this apricot tree, which accounts for the dappled light, which is not great. It's not ideal light. And there's no real light in his eyes. This is today you could rescue this in Lightroom.
Yeah, you could.
And bring out the shadows. This is on Kodachrome. So it was beyond hope. So I moved him. I was sleeping in a tent in this village, an old army tent, which had sort of dirty white canvas sides. And the sun came through this canvas. And I thought, if I move this guy into the tent, it's going to be like a giant light box, and we're going to get really nice light on him. So as you'll see in the next photograph.
Oh, wow.
The light changed dramatically. This was 6 feet away. I just moved him into the tent.
Amazing.
His eyes light up. The problem is, as soon as I moved him, he froze.
Right.
Suddenly he was very conscious of the fact I was taking a photograph of him, and he froze up. So I had to work with him for probably 10 minutes or more. So, I didn't speak his language. He didn't speak any English. But you can always make yourself understood and respond to people and be non-threatening and play around. And eventually he opened up and I got the shot that worked. It's a two-part thing, Mark. First of all, it's recognizing that light under the tree doesn't work. And in addition to the light being dappled, you get a greenish cast from the tree.
Right.
Reflected light picks up the colors of whatever it's being reflected from. So there's a very cold greenish cast.
You're right. He's not looking at you. There's no light in his face. But, a lot of people would come away with this, Bob, and think, wow, that is a killer image.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but it's not.
It's not.
It's really not.
From a lot of my photography, I do believe in using studio lighting, but I also sometimes find that if you really understand direction of light and you become comfortable using it, it means that you can photograph very quickly in any kind of situation without a lot of fuss. And especially I have found that learning that concept has been very helpful to me when when I'm on location at a wedding or something, because in those kinds of environments, you got to learn to get it right without too much time, because everybody wants beautiful pictures, but not everybody wants to spend a lot of time taking those beautiful pictures. Yeah. Sometimes they want it beautiful, but they want it done like in 5 seconds. So you have to learn how to be able to place your subject or where your camera position needs to be in relation to that subject. So
can you show us with your hand, as you did before, how you see the light in the room, how you use your hand to see?
I can show that to you.
Yeah.
So this room might be a little bit difficult. I have a window in front of my my screen.
Yeah.
So that's going to give me our main light, I believe, unless it's coming from behind me. But you'll notice that over on this side, there's a bit of a shadow area. It should be right here on this side. So depending on, for instance, if I wanted to, depending on the angle that my camera position is, that's really the whole key. It's where's camera position in relation to the light source. So for instance, if I photograph from this side over here coming from the same direction as the light source, that's broad light, and that's going to make my face look larger. That's really good for somebody who has a long, narrow face, not mine necessarily. However, if I change my position and move camera position over here and photograph on the shadow side of the face, then that's going to compress and make my face look a bit more narrow. This is also a great technique for being able to show off texture. For instance, if you look at the photograph of this young lady, when I walked in this room, I knew that this was a cool environment, but I didn't want the environment to overtake the subject. Right. So I found by placing my camera position about at least 90 degrees from the way the light was coming in the room, that I could really show off some of the details and the texture in this incredible gown this young lady had on, and also separate her face and her hair from that background. That's really important. She had really dark hair. So allowing that highlight for coming in from that window to really separate her face and her hair from the background gives her a bit more depth and dimensionality.
So Rachel asks, can you share your lighting ratios?
I know Rachel.
Yeah.
And I think she's setting this question up because I don't do ratios.
A trick question, Rachel.
It's a trick question. I love it. And it's because, and when I used to work for photographers, I found this out. I thought, oh, what's the ratio that gives your light that look? And they're like, I don't have a ratio.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh, it's not the ratio. It's just that they respond to what they're looking for, their taste. And that ends up kind of being in the same place. Instead of going, so they're going at it from the creative side instead of the technical side.
Right.
Because when you get lost in the technical side, you get lost.
And you just geek out. Can you define what a ratio is in case everybody doesn't understand that?
So some people would set up one light at full power and another light at another ratio. So they would put the other light at half power in this position. And so imagine you have a studio where you need to create the same look over and over and over and over again.
Right.
Right? Then you would definitely need to know, right, I have one light in exactly this spot. I have one light in exactly this spot. And I know exactly the power of this one. And I know exactly the power of that one. You would end up with a ratio.
Gotcha.
Right?
So those are the mathematics that you skip.
Exactly. And we don't skip them because you can work those things out for yourself. But it is absolutely possible to go, right, I want a little bit of fill on my shadows, and I want a light that gives it a little bit of direction, like we saw with the astronaut picture.
Yeah.
You can literally walk over to those lights and turn them up or turn them down if they're too bright or too dark. In digital photography, we have that benefit.
Yes. And that's what we do.
Test. So I call the light that gives it direction, I call that the kicker.
Okay.
Because what I do in my signature light setup is give a broad wash of light and then add just a little bit of a kicker light to give it direction. And it comes from if you were to be in a forest or any situation where the natural light is really beautiful, you're gonna, like on a beach, when you have like soft light on the beach, it's filled in from the reflections coming off the water. So you have a broad wash of light, and then the sun adds a bit of direction. So I try that's how I get natural light. And it's so simple.
We hope that you enjoyed that video. If you did, please give it a like and leave a comment. We love to hear from you. If you want to see more videos like this, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you can know when all of our future videos come out. And finally, be sure to get out there and capture your own images of life.